what convinced MSF people to come to South Africa was the fact that we were facing a major challenge with HIV. In MSF operation confronted with HIV, we knew HIV was existing for about a decade, but we couldn't treat it. So we're desperately looking for a country that would have technical capacity and already some experience to treat HIV on a large scale, and altogether a country with a fighting spirit.
So my first encounters with MSF South Africa, when MSF South Africa was still a mission, were in 2000. And it was already clear at that time that MSF South Africa was more than just a mission, that it wanted to contribute to the debate. And I was very much in favor of that. For me, the main reason for establishing the MSF South Africa section was a willingness in South Africa, not only the political eagerness, but also the human resources, the people, in fact, the richness and the experience of the people in South Africa.
MSF was very welcomed in South Africa by doctors, healthcare workers, activists. The traditions of MSF struck a chord with the history of the struggle against apartheid, with the history of taking a stand, of speaking out, and I think the strong history of solidarity.
During my time as president and seeing MSF South Africa grow, first thing we see is that we grew from MSF South Africa to a regional association that fundamentally challenged the notion of multinational associations and what MSF's identity is to be a truly global international organization.
MSF International reflected for me the old paradigm of donors and recipients. All the sections were in the rich countries, and in the poor countries there were the missions. If you really believe in a vision of without borders, sans frontières, then that had to change, and MSF International had to become truly international.
I was there at the very first association where we only had about 80 members. For me to finally get here, having been there from the beginning, is a huge achievement for us.
When I joined MSF Southern Africa a few years ago, it was still very small in terms of numbers, and we did not have much in terms of regional reach. At the present moment, we have about 510 members, and this has been growing at a very impressive rate, so to speak. So the MSF Southern Africa Association is made up of 7 countries, South Africa, Lesotho, Swaziland, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi. And we also have members who have come to work in the region. I think that MSF Southern Africa offers me as an individual an opportunity to experience MSF at home. It can't get closer to home than this for me.
I think it's important to understand that the intent of MSF South Africa to begin with was to inform and improve the quality of care that we provide to patients.
From the very beginning, the idea that we had a medical department, and actually it's a decentralized part of the medical department in Brussels, has been hugely important for us. We're able to support both projects in Southern Africa for AIDS and TB and hepatitis C, but also worldwide for OCB and to some extent for OCG. And what's different about the way that we work is we tend to have long-term relationships with projects, and our medical people spend a bit more time in the project. We are able to contribute to all OCs some very serious expertise, for example, on South Sudan. As we have a South Sudan expert, which is part of the Heart Network. In terms of fundraising, over the last 2 years, we were significantly above 30% in terms of growth. And we basically have about 25,000 donors. We use a lot of face-to-face fundraising, and our donors tend to be regular donors.
Not everyone's going to be able to donate, that's what we've learned, but people can know about us. They can say, hey guys, there's this organization, it's doing some great work, some wonderful initiatives. We are literally these people that love us.
Something that's a bit surprising is less than half of our field workers actually come from South Africa. In general, we're drawing on 13 African countries. 3 years ago, we had about 30 departures, and by the end of 2014, we had 115 departures.
I think there are many different skill sets that we can add as MSF Southern Africa. Many of us were born and raised in limited resource settings. Our medical training had to be innovative and had to truly understand the culture and the needs of the people in the community. So my vision for MSF Southern Africa is to learn from our experiences of the past and move into the new MSF of the future. It's to really look at this word internationalization and come back to our truly original name, which is Doctors Without Borders.
Merci beaucoup. Siyabonga.
Longonya mingi.
Kia leboha.
Tinotenda.
Dankie.
Thank you. Thank you.